Bob Kerback, and I would like to welcome you all to the dedication of our roadside plaque for our Old Town Hall. And we're happy to see you all here. And to get things started, let's see. If you notice outside, we have a lot of contributions that have been made for today. One of them being the porta potties outside, graciously donated by Dundon's Plumbing and Heating from Orwell. And I'd like to thank Stewart's of West Rutland for donating the ice cream that we're going to have after this ceremony. And Peg TV, who's recording today. Thank you, Jim. Well, let's see. Okay. Peg TV is going to record today's event, and we'll be able to keep it in our records. Sort of like an archive, I guess. First, I'd like to introduce you to Olivia Booten, who's going to sing the national anthem. Olivia.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Laura. That was beautiful. Our dedication today will be given by our friend and treasurer, Bill Whiteman. Bill?
Well, good afternoon. Welcome as we celebrate 220 years of history of our town hall. Until 1760, the land that is now Ira was under the control of the French, and any English person trying to settle in this area was captured and taken to Canada or killed by Indians allied to the French. But in 1760, after the British Army conquered French Canada and built His Majesty's Fort at Crown Point, New York, it became safe for people from Connecticut, Massachusetts, Rhode Island to settle here. Therefore, starting in 1762, brave and industrious individuals and families packed up their belongings, loaded them into wagons, and traveled on rutted, dusty dirt roads to Vermont, and to here in Ira. Southern New England had been settled for over 100 years, and the land was too expensive for many people to afford. There were land agents throughout southern New England selling property in Vermont from the grants made by New Hampshire's Governor Benning Whitworth. Many felt that life in southern New England was much too regulated by powerful and influential clergy, along with numerous laws dictating how a person should live their lives. They yearned to escape to a place where a person could live their lives however they saw fit. Right from the very start, Vermont became populated with very independent thinking people. Ira was a wilderness of just hills and trees, Roads had to be made, land had to be cleared of trees, stumps, and rocks. Timber had to be sawed and made into homes and barns. This was all done without any power equipment or backhoes or chainsaws or anything, so it was backbreaking, very difficult work. But these settlers were a very hardy race, and Ira grew into a prosperous community. Town meetings began in 1779, and the town was incorporated in 1784. My wife's family and some of your families here today were a part of those brave pioneers. In 1797, 36 years after settlement started, some of the citizens decided it was time to build a meeting place for any group in Ira. The town report for that year states that, known to all men for the goodwill, we, Benenoy Collins and Thomas Collins, have for promoting public building in the town of Ira, do give, grant, convey, and confirm under the town of Ira a certain tract of land in Ira for the use of building a meeting house and schoolhouse. Little is known about the actual building of the town hall. It was built in a federal style, which was the popular architectural style at that time. They used wooden Morse and tenon heavy timber frame with a thin brick veneer. My father remembers being told that the 2-inch thick bricks used in the hall were made right here in Ira. At the time, there was a brick kiln near the steep blue clay bank on the west road near the fish farm. If you look at the walls of the hall, you will see that there's a very unusual pattern of bricks was used. According to Jim Moore, sometime in the 19th century, the inside of the hall was gutted. The pews, pulpit window, balcony, and center chimney were removed. A north chimney and a faced south chimney was added. In 1910, the grain conducted a general renovation of the building. Much of the work was accomplished by old-fashioned bees, where people gathered together to do work that was needed. And again in 1961, the grain sponsored the work of plumbing water from the schoolhouse to the hall. 2 bathrooms along with running water for the kitchen were installed. 1974, the town used the revenue sharing money from the state of Vermont to replace the 2 chunk stoves and wood kitchen range with an oil heating system, a hot water heater, and electric stove. However, in early 1989, the town hall was deemed unusable because of the poor condition of the building. A large section of the brick exterior needed to be rebuilt, and there were major foundation problems. The Ira Historical Restoration Society was formed to tackle these problems. It was decided to remove the first floor while making repairs to the outside wall to renovate the first floor. There was about $155,000 in grants received to help cover the cost of the renovations. Work took place over a number of years, and most of the work was accomplished by volunteer labor. However, there was extensive free labor also provided by the Army Reserve. Recently, the gardens around the hall have been upgraded and maintained. Work has been on the second floor to make it accessible to the public by the Friends of the Town Hall and the Ira Historical Society. The museum on the second floor opens to the public today. Well, there are lots of older buildings in Ira than our town hall. So what makes this building so special? This town hall is special because for almost 220 years, this town hall has been the very heart of our beloved community. Vermonters are rightly proud that we set the pattern for the rest of the nation, demonstrating what true democracy is. Democracy is where all the citizens of town have their say in town affairs. Town matters are decided at a town meeting where everyone has a chance to state their opinions, whether their opinions are wise or foolish. These meetings are often loud and messy with sharp differences of ideas, but that is what democracy is. It is in this building that for 220 years, true democracy has taken place. It is in this building that any group in Ira could meet. From 1800 to 1852, the Ira Baptist Church met in the town hall until it purchased land across the road and erected their own building. In 1905, the Ira Grange was chartered with a purpose of advancing agricultural methods and to promote social and economic needs of farmers. Ira was an agricultural community, and the Grange soon became a center of social life for the farmers and their families. My wife remembers lovely school Christmas programs that included music, plays, and an annual visit by Santa Claus, orchestrated by our beloved teacher, Miss Kenyon, who made sure that each student had a speaking part, one way of helping them prepare for the future. It was here that the 8th grade graduation of the Ira Central School was held, sending students into West Rutland High School. She remembers coming here where just about the whole town gathered to celebrate 50th anniversaries of town people. In her father, Ralph Perry Sr.'s memoirs, he wrote some memories of this hall. The present town hall has served for town functions, plus school, church, grange, family parties, receptions for newlyweds, church suppers, as well as fundraising projects for all different organizations. Dances were held upstairs in the hall, and I recall folks telling how the second floor moved up and down with all the action. I can remember the 1928-30 era when our church services were held here while our church was redecorated. There were sheds in the back of the town hall where individual stalls where horses could be tied up and blanketed while their owners attended church or various functions. No water was available except what was brought in 42-quart milk cans. This was an outhouse for convenience. When we put water in the school, lines were also added for the town hall and church. Bathrooms were then installed in all rooms with appropriate shutoffs for the cold weather. In the fall, Ira had chicken pot pie supper at the town halls. Different ones made chicken pies, potatoes, squash, coleslaw, pickles, rolls, and a variety of pies with cheese, of course. It was an annual event with 2 or 3 sittings to accommodate everyone and looking forward to many outsiders. There used to be waiting lines, so another door was added on the north side of the town hall to let folks out rather than walking all the way through the waiting crowd. I remember having to take milk cans of hot and cold water for the occasion. Guess the whole town took part. The schools held Christmas exercises here each December, which was exciting to all. Each student had a part, and we had many practice sessions. The birth of Christ was spoken of by recitation or else by a manger scene. After all this, Santa Claus would come with a bag of gifts and jingling sleigh bells. He would tell some jokes on different people in the town and give out his gifts. Of course, we all drew names for presents, and the school gave out boxes of candy. I can still see the excitement as the bells jingled as he came up the stairs. All in all, it was a merry time. Well, today the town hall is used for our annual town meetings, for our monthly senior citizens lunch, for community dinners and game nights, for family celebration events, for bone builders, Ira yoga class, by various committees, and now the second floor is our Historical Society's museum. For over 220 years, our town hall has been the very heart of Ira. Even though times have changed, this building is still at the center of our community. Today, we want to thank all those here who have worked so hard over the years to restore and maintain our town hall and to make this celebration today possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. That was 3 years in coming, by the way. Thank you very much. I'd like to introduce you to Laura Treichman from the State Historical Preservation, who was responsible for getting us a plaque. Laura?
Good afternoon. I am your State Historic Preservation Officer, and it is my honor that the Roadside Historic Site Marker Program is within the Division for Historic Preservation at the state. I am really honored to be a part of this Roadside Historic Marker dedication ceremony on behalf of the state of Vermont. Events such as this are special because we get to highlight important people and stories that are significant to Vermont's history. But we also need to get to recognize, as a part of our nation's heritage, what is important. Stories that are not often told, but should never be forgotten. The Roadside Historic Site Marker Program started in 1947 to record our history and teach it to people passing by. It was established by the Vermont General Assembly, and I can tell you they fully support this program even today. Get very excited when I let them know what markers are being placed where. This is by far one of the state's smallest programs, but it has one of the farthest reaches, with a tad more than 300 markers in production or placed throughout Vermont, and there's even one gracing a roadside in Middletown, Virginia, to honor Vermonters' efforts at the Battle of Cedar Creek during the Civil War. Our first markers were installed in 1948, with 55 new markers set throughout Vermont by 1950. Many of these markers still stand. Some have been updated, some replaced as we learn more about our history. These 3-foot signs of cast aluminum are crammed with 765 characters on each side. They provide a glimpse into the lives of noteworthy and inspiring Vermonters, the places where their history happened, and recognize their struggles and triumphs. 765 characters, that includes spaces and punctuation. And the story you just heard about this building is very hard to cram into 765 spaces. The Roadside Historic Site Marker Program was intended to commemorate places and architecture exactly like the Ira Town Hall, acknowledge its history with multiple uses that have supported this great community for 220 some odd years. But I'm also delighted that markers can celebrate the stewardship of historic buildings like your town hall, because of restoration and ongoing maintenance are not simple undertakings. So now with this Roadside Historic Site Marker, that story can be expressed more readily, bringing deserved recognition to this building and the people who cherish it. The Ira Town Hall marker was the 270th to be installed in Vermont. It was placed in 2020, just as the pandemic was forcing us inside. This dedication is well-timed because we are now in the 75th year of this program. I want to give a special thank you to the Ira Historical Society, in particular Alan Cahill, who worked with me tirelessly back and forth, trying to make sure we had the text exactly right. Because of your well-kept records and your dedication to this place and its story, approval and production of this marker took just a matter of months. I also want to thank the Agency of Transportation, which brought the marker here and installed it. These markers weigh about 175 pounds, and it sits on a 12-foot pole, so travel and installation require some planning. I wish to thank the staff of the Division for Historic Preservation, which operates the program, the Vermont Advisory Council on Historic Preservation, which is the governing board that approves the markers, and of course the Vermont General Assembly and our administration, which continuously funds this program. It is my honor, on behalf of the state of Vermont and Governor Phil Scott, to present the Ira Town Hall Roadside Historic Marker to the wonderful people of Ira. Thank you for your stewardship of this building and its history.
Thank you, Laura. Excellent. Well, that just about wraps it up. except for we have some people here today, the reenactors from the Massachusetts 3rd Regiment. And, oh yes, yes, yes. And after Olivia's song, they're going to give us a demonstration of musket fire. So don't be too alarmed. And now for her second song, Olivia Bowden.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful for patriot dream that sees beyond the years. Thine alabaster cities gleam, undimmed by human tears. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
That was beautiful. Thank you all for coming. We have cake and ice cream inside. And after that, the museum upstairs opens, and we hope you come up again. Thank you all for coming.
We're gonna try